He's dangerous, MacAllister. I'll find her. Oh my God,
"You're my husband now," said the Apache girl, after the bounty hunter chose not to kill her. "My name is James MacAllister. I'm a bounty hunter. 3 weeks ago, the sheriff paid me $5,000 to kill a woman named Kaya Windrider. They called her an Apache witch, a murderer, a savage who bewitched men and made them kill each other. I tracked her for 13 days across 3 territories. I learned her patterns, where she slept, where she hunted, where she bathed in the cold mountain streams at dawn. I had the perfect shot. My finger was on the trigger. One squeeze and I'd be $5,000 richer. But when she turned around and smiled at me through my rifle scope, everything changed. Now she's my wife, and I would kill any man who tried to take her from me. This is how a hunter became the hunted. 2 weeks earlier, the sheriff's office smelled like tobacco and old leather. I sat across from Sheriff William Crane, watching him count out $500 in gold coins. "Half now," he said, sliding the coins across his desk. "Half when you bring me proof." I studied the wanted poster he'd given me. The sketch showed a young Apache woman with fierce eyes and long black hair, Kaya Windrider, age 24, wanted for the murder of 12 men across Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado territories. "Dead or alive?" I asked. "I'm paying $5,000 for dead, $2,500 for alive." I raised an eyebrow. "You want her dead specifically?" Crane leaned back in his chair. "She's dangerous, MacAllister. Killed trained men, experienced hunters. Some say she's a witch, that she gets inside a man's head, makes him see things, makes him turn on his own partners." He tapped the poster. "I want her gone, permanently." "What kind of proof do you need?" His eyes went cold. "Her scalp will do." Something twisted in my gut, but I took the money anyway. I'd killed 23 men in my career as a bounty hunter. All of them deserved it. Outlaws, murderers, rapists. If this woman had killed 12 men, she belonged on that list. "I'll find her," I said. "One more thing." Crane opened a drawer and pulled out a silver cross on a chain. "Wear this. Keep it close. My brother wore it when he went after her. She killed him too, but we found this in the dirt near his body. Maybe it'll bring you better luck." I took the cross, feeling its weight in my palm. "Your brother was one of the 12, yes. Thomas Crane. Good man, family man. She murdered him in cold blood." His voice hardened. "Make her suffer, MacAllister. Don't make it quick." I pocketed the cross and left without promising anything. I didn't make people suffer. I just ended them. Day 1 of the hunt. Kaya's last known location was a trading post near the Gila River. The owner, an old Mexican man named Torres, crossed himself when I showed him the poster. "La Bruja," he whispered. "The witch. She was here 5 days ago." "What did she want?" "Supplies. Ammunition. She paid in gold." He leaned closer, voice dropping. "She knew my name, senor. I never told her, but she knew. She knew I had a daughter in Santa Fe. She knew my wife died 3 years ago. She looked at me, and she knew everything." "Which way did she go?" He pointed northeast toward the mountains. "But senor, listen to me. Turn back. You are the 4th hunter to come asking about her. The others." He shook his head. "They found the first one hanging from a tree, his own rope around his neck. The second one shot himself in the mouth. The third one they found in pieces like he'd been torn apart by wolves. She killed them, no one knows, but she was near every time. That's why they call her Bruja. She doesn't pull the trigger. She makes men destroy themselves." I didn't believe in witches, but I believed in dangerous people. I rode northeast, days 2 through 12. One tractor, like I'd tracked dozens of others, reading signs in the dirt. Crushed grass, broken branches, the remains of small fires. She was careful, but no one was invisible. On the 4th day, I found one of her campsites. She'd left behind a half-burned sage bundle and a circle of stones. In the center of the circle, someone had drawn a symbol in the ash. It looked like a bird with outstretched wings. On the 7th day, I found another camp. This time, the symbol was different, a man and a woman holding hands. On the 10th day, I realized she knew I was following her. The tracks became too obvious, too easy. She was leading me somewhere. That night, I made camp and tried to sleep, but my dreams were strange, vivid. I saw her face clearly for the first time, even though I'd never seen her in person, only the crude sketch on the poster. In the dream, she stood in a river water flowing around her waist. Her skin was bronze in the sunlight. Her black hair hung wet down her back. Scars marked her shoulders, burn marks that spelled out the word savage in crude letters. She turned and looked directly at me. Her eyes were impossibly deep, flecked with gold. "Why are you following me, James?" she asked. I woke with a start hand on my pistol. The fire had burned down to embers. The woods around me were silent, too silent. No crickets, no owls, nothing. I should have run then, should have collected the $500 I already had and disappeared, but I didn't. Day 13. I found her at dawn, just like in my dream. She was bathing in a stream at the base of a waterfall, the early light turning the mist into gold. I was 200 yards away, hidden in the rocks above my rifle scope, giving me a perfect view. This was it, the moment I'd been tracking toward for nearly 2 weeks. I steadied my breathing, settled the crosshairs over her heart. My finger found the trigger. In my scope, I watched her rise from the water. Droplets cascaded down her skin. She was smaller than I'd expected, maybe 5'4", but she carried herself with a kind of wild grace. Every movement was deliberate, powerful. She tilted her head back, wringing water from her hair. The burn scars on her shoulders caught the light. Instead of looking like wounds, they looked like war paint, like badges she'd earned. A hawk landed on a rock beside her. She turned to it, smiled, stroked its feathers gently. The bird looked up directly at my hiding spot and cawed. My finger tightened on the trigger. Then she turned, looked directly at me. Through 200 yards of distance, through my scope, our eyes met. She smiled, not a frightened smile, not a desperate smile, a knowing smile, almost playful. She raised one hand and beckoned. "Come here." Her voice filled my head clear, as if she were whispering in my ear. "James MacAllister, you've been following me for 13 days. Your boots are worn on the left side from an old injury. You sleep with your gun under your pillow. You dream about a woman you failed to save. Her name was Sarah." My blood ran cold. Sarah was my sister. She died 6 years ago. I'd never told anyone about her. You missed breakfast this morning because you wanted the shot at dawn. You're hungry, tired, and you're wondering why I haven't run. She spread her arms wide, completely exposed. "Because I'm not afraid of you, James. I'm curious about you." My hand started shaking. This was impossible. She couldn't know these things, couldn't hear me, couldn't see me, but she did. I lowered my rifle and stood up. Every survival instinct I had screamed at me to take the shot and run, but my body moved on its own, walking down the rocky slope toward her. She watched me approach, still standing waist deep in the water. She didn't cover herself, didn't show any shame or fear. She just waited. When I reached the stream's edge, I stopped. 10 feet of water separated us. I kept my hand near my pistol. "How did you know?" My voice came out rough. "Know what? Your name, your wounds, your ghosts." She began walking toward me, water streaming off her body. "I know many things, James. The spirits whisper to those who listen." "I don't believe in spirits." "Then how do you explain what you're feeling right now?" She stepped out of the water, completely naked, completely unashamed. She picked up her dress from a rock and pulled it over her head. "Your heart is racing. Your pupils are dilated. Your gun hand is trembling." She was right. All of it. "You came here to kill me," she continued, tying her hair back. "But now you're wondering what I taste like, wondering what my skin feels like, wondering if the stories are true." She looked directly at me. "They are. And they aren't." "What does that mean?" "It means I did kill 12 men. But they weren't innocent. They were monsters." Her eyes hardened. "They came to my village 3 years ago, said we were trespassing on American land, land that belonged to my people for 300 years. When my father protested, they shot him in front of everyone. When my mother screamed, She stopped, pulled down the sleeve of her dress. The burn scars were worse up close. Savage burned into her flesh in crude letters. "They did this to me. Then they used me. Then they left me for dead in the ashes of my home." My stomach turned. The sheriff said, "The sheriff is William Crane. His brother Thomas was one of the 12. Did he tell you that?" She smiled bitterly. "Did he tell you that Thomas was the one who held the brand, that Thomas laughed while I screamed?" I thought of the cross in my pocket. "The one Crane said his brother wore." "The other hunters," I said. The ones who came before me. Did you kill them? No. I offered each of them a choice. Walk away with your life or die for your gold. Most chose greed. I told them I'd surrender to whoever survived. Then I watched them kill each other, fighting over who would collect the bounty. She tilted her head. I didn't bewitch them, James. I just revealed what was already in their hearts. She walked past me, began gathering her belongings. So, will you shoot me in the back, collect your $5,000, or will you sit by my fire and let me tell you who really sent you here to die? I should have shot her. Should have ended it right there. Instead, I heard myself say, I'll sit. She built a fire with practiced efficiency. I sat across from her, my rifle across my lap, watching her every move. William Crane didn't send you to kill me, she said, grinding herbs in a small stone bowl. He sent you to die. You're hunter number 7. James, not 4. Torres didn't know about the others. Why would he want me dead? Because you're a witness. You know he hired you to kill an Apache woman. When you disappear like the others, he can claim I'm a demon who kills anyone who comes near. It justifies what he's planning. She looked up. There's a reason he wants me dead, James. I'm not just hunting the 12 men who destroyed my village. I'm hunting the 8 men who gave the orders. William Crane is number 3 on that list. She pulled out a hand-drawn map, unfolded it on the ground between us. 8 faces were sketched around the edges. I recognized some of them. Wealthy ranchers, a banker, a railroad baron, the mayor of Silver City. These men wanted Apache land. They hired those 12 to clear it, make it look like savages attacking innocent Americans. Then they could send in the cavalry, kill everyone, and claim the territory. Her finger traced connections between the faces. Thomas Crane was supposed to make sure there were no witnesses, but he got sloppy. Left me alive, and you've been killing them one by one. Yes, I've killed 4 so far. These 4. She pointed to crossed-out faces on the map. I have 8 more to go. William Crane and his remaining allies know I'm coming. That's why he's sending hunters. Not to kill me. To die trying so he can prove I'm the monster. I studied the map, the story, her eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because you're different. James, the others were greedy, cruel, easy to manipulate. But you, she leaned forward. You hesitated. You had a perfect shot, and you didn't take it. You came to talk instead of kill. That makes you either very smart or very stupid. Which is it? I haven't decided yet. She poured liquid from a water skin into a cup, handed it to me. Drink. It's tea. Helps with clarity. I didn't drink. What do you want from me, partnership? Help me kill the 8 men who destroyed my people. Then you can collect the bounty on my corpse if you want. I'll be dead anyway. And if I say no, her hand moved faster than I could track. Suddenly she had a knife at my throat, her body pressed against mine. I hadn't even seen her move. Then I kill you here, she whispered. Not because I want to. Because I can't risk you bringing others. I felt the knife edge against my skin. Felt her breath on my face. Smelled sage and smoke and something wild. But I don't think you'll say no, James MacAllister. Because you're tired? Tired of being alone. Tired of hunting for men who don't deserve your loyalty. Tired of running from your sister's ghost. The knife disappeared. She was back on the other side of the fire before I could blink. So choose. Hunt with me. Or die here. But choose quickly. We don't have much time. I looked at her across the flames. This woman who should have been my target. Who had turned the hunt inside out. If I do this, I said slowly, I need to know. Can you really see into people's heads? Or are you just very good at reading them? She smiled. Does it matter? Either way, I know you've already decided. You chose the moment you didn't pull that trigger. She was right. God help me, she was right. One condition, I said. No one dies who doesn't deserve it. You show me proof of what they did. Agreed. The first target is Thomas Harding. Cattle rancher 30 miles south. Respectable. Pillar of the community. Has a wife and 3 daughters. Her eyes went cold. He also has a cellar where he keeps trophies from the women he's destroyed. My mother's name is carved into the wall down there. You'll see. The first kill. We rode together through the desert, keeping to the shadows. Kaya moved like smoke through the landscape, leaving almost no trace. I'd tracked hundreds of people in my life, but watching her was like watching water flow. Effortless. Natural. You fight like you were born to it, I said. I was. My father was a warrior. He trained me from the time I could walk. Said the spirits told him I would need to be strong. to survive what was coming. She glanced at me. He was right. I'm sorry. About your family. Don't be sorry. Be useful. Help me make their deaths mean something. We reached Harding's ranch at dusk. It was beautiful, sprawling property with white fences and fat cattle grazing in green fields. The kind of place that looked like the American dream. I'll go in as a drifter looking for work, I said. Scout the place. You stay hidden until no. We go in together. I want to see his face when he recognizes me. Kaya, that's suicide. He'll have men. Guns. She smiled that dangerous smile. Then we'd better be faster. We walked right up to the main house. Kaya knocked on the door like she owned the place. Thomas Harding answered, a big man with a friendly face and kind eyes. The perfect mask. Can I help you folks, he asked. Then he saw Kaya. Really saw her. His face went white. You, he breathed. Hello, Thomas. Remember me? The little savage girl you branded like cattle. Kaya's voice was soft. Deadly. I remember you. I remember everything. Harding's hand went for the gun at his belt. I was faster. My pistol was in my hand and aimed at his head before he could draw. Let's talk inside, I said. Nice and quiet. Don't want to disturb your family. We forced him down to the cellar at gunpoint. Kaya had been right. The walls were covered in marks. Names, dates, trophies from victims. I saw Eta, 1,873 carved deep into the wood. Kaya's mother. My stomach turned. This man, this respectable family man. Monster. You kept records, Kaya said, voice shaking. You kept records of every woman you destroyed. They were just savages, Harding spat. Animals. You people aren't even human. I hit him. Hard. Felt his nose break under my fist. It felt good. Kaya knelt in front of him, pulled out her knife. I've waited 3 years for this moment. Dreamed about it every night. Imagined all the ways I could make you suffer. Her hand shook. Tears streamed down her face. She couldn't do it. I saw it in her eyes. All her rage, all her pain, and she was freezing. Trauma locking her body in place. Harding saw it too. Started to laugh. Can't do it, can you? Still just a scared little. I put my knife through his throat. Quick. Clean. He died, choking on his own blood. Kaya collapsed. I caught her, held her while she shook. I'm sorry, she whispered. I thought I could. I wanted to so badly, but I couldn't. You're human, I said. That's good. Means you're not like him. We heard screaming from upstairs. Harding's wife had found us. We ran. By the time we made camp 10 miles away, a posse was forming. I could see torches in the distance, hear the dogs. They'll hunt us now, I said. Both of us. Yes, you're a fugitive. A murderer. Everything I am. Kaya looked at me across the fire. I'm sorry. You could have walked away rich. Now you're running for your life. Don't be. I made my choice. She studied me with those dark, knowing eyes. Why? Why choose this? Why choose me? I thought about it. Really thought. Because you were right. I'm tired. Tired of being empty. Of pretending I don't care. Of hunting people for money when I could be hunting for something that matters. I met her eyes. You matter. This matters. Something changed in her expression. Softened. Come here, she said quietly. I moved to her side of the fire. She reached out, touched my face gently. Her fingers traced old scars. These are from when you were young, learning to fight. Her hand moved to my chest. This one, you were 26. A knife. Someone you trusted. How do you shh? I'm not finished. Her palm rested over my heart. This one is fresh. Not a scar on your skin. A scar on your spirit. From choosing me. From crossing a line you can't uncross. I covered her hand with mine. I don't regret it. You will. Before this is over, you'll regret meeting me. Regret everything. Because I'm going to hurt you, James. Not because I want to. Because it's what I do. I hurt everyone. Then hurt me. I can take it. She laughed softly, sadly. You don't know what you're saying. Yes, I do. We sat like that for a long time, her hand on my heart, my hand over hers. The posse got closer. But neither of us moved. We ran for 3 days. The posse tracked us relentlessly. Sheriff Crane was leading them personally. I heard his voice calling orders through the canyons. On the 3rd day, they cornered us in a box canyon. 15 men with rifles closing in from all sides. Kaya and I took cover behind rocks, checking our ammunition. We had maybe 20 bullets between us. Nowhere to run. This is bad, I said. Yes. She reloaded her rifle calmly, but not hopeless. How do you figure? She looked at me with strange intensity. James, I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. What do you trust me? Completely. Yes. Even if what I ask you to do seems insane, I thought about everything that had happened, everything she'd been right about. Yes. Then marry me, right now. Apache way. I stared at her. What, it's our only chance. If you marry me, I become your wife. Your property under white man's law. They can't hang me without hanging you. And you're a white man. They won't risk it if there's any legal complication. That's crazy. It's the law. I've seen it work before. Trapper named Johnson married an Apache woman accused of murder. They had to let her go. Couldn't prosecute a white man's wife without his consent. She pulled out a knife. It's binding. Blood ceremony. You can't undo it later. Even if we separate, we're marked as each other's. Bullets pinged off the rocks around us. Why me, I asked. You could have asked any of the others. She grabbed my face, fierce and desperate. Because you're the only one who didn't try to kill me. Because you saw me. Really saw me. Not a savage. Not a witch. Just me. Her eyes blazed. I'm claiming you, James MacAllister, as my husband, as my partner, as mine, if you'll have me. It was insane. Desperate. Impossible. I held out my hand. Do it. She cut her palm. I cut mine. We pressed them together, blood mingling. She spoke in Apache, words I didn't understand but felt in my bones. Something ancient. Binding. Repeat after me, she said. Shitskili. Shitskili. Shiniu. Shiniu. Kad e nihil hoshia. Kad e nihil hoshia. What does it mean, I asked. My husband. My life. Now we walk in beauty together. She smiled through tears. You're mine now. Forever. We stood, hands still clasped and bloody, and walked out of cover. Sheriff Crane had his rifle aimed at us. Finally giving up. This woman is my wife, I called out. Under Apache law and United States law. Married 10 minutes ago. Blood ceremony. I held up our joined hands, showed the blood. You have no legal right to arrest her without arresting me. And I'm a white man. A citizen. You want to risk hanging a citizen's wife without trial? In front of 15 witnesses, Crane's face went purple with rage. You married her. You married that savage. She's my savage now. My wife. My property, if you want to use your words. I met his eyes. Unless you're planning to violate a white man's marriage rights. The men in the posse shifted uncomfortably. They knew I was right. The law was twisted, broken, wrong in every way. But it worked in our favor. One of the men spoke up. Sheriff, he's right. We can't string up a man's wife without him. Not legal. I don't care about legal, Crane shouted. Then this isn't law. This is murder. Lynch mob justice. I kept my voice steady. How will that look when the territorial judge hears about it? Long tense silence. Finally, Crane lowered his rifle. You've got 24 hours to get out of this territory. After that, marriage or no marriage, I'll kill you both myself. We backed away slowly, never breaking eye contact. Only when we reached our horses did we turn and ride. We didn't stop until we'd crossed into New Mexico territory 20 miles from any town. Made camp in a dry riverbed hidden by cottonwoods. The reality of what we'd done settled over us like a weight. So I said, we're married. Yes, that's unexpected. Kaya laughed. Actually laughed. The first time I'd heard her do that. Understatement, James. Do you regret it? She came and sat beside me, our shoulders touching. No, it was always going to end this way. I knew the moment I saw you through your rifle scope. You were meant to find me. Meant to be mine. You saw that in your visions, no? I felt it. Here. She took my hand, placed it over her heart. I felt it racing under my palm. My heart knew before my head did. I should have pulled away, should have kept some distance. Instead, I pulled her closer. She rested her head on my shoulder. This doesn't have to be real, you know. We can find a judge. Annul it. Say it was under duress. Do you want to long pause? No, neither do I. We sat there as stars came out, two fugitives bound by blood and desperation, and something neither of us could name. What happens now? I asked. Now we finish what I started. 7 targets left, including your friend the sheriff. She looked up at me. Still with me, I thought about my old life. Bounty hunting, the empty rooms, the lonely nights, the constant running from Sarah's ghost. I thought about this woman in my arms, wild and dangerous, and broken in all the same places I was. Yeah, I said. I'm with you. She kissed me then, soft and fierce at the same time, tasting like smoke and vengeance and something sweet underneath. When we pulled apart, she smiled. My husband, my wife. It felt right, felt true, felt like the beginning of something neither of us would survive, but we'd survive it together. Targets 2 and 3. Over the next 3 weeks, we killed 2 more men from Kaya's list. The second was a banker in Santa Fe, Martin Grayson. Respectable, wealthy, donated to churches and orphanages. He also ran a secret trade and captured Apache women, selling them to brothels across the territory. We caught him in his office after hours. Kaya dressed as a wealthy client, me as her bodyguard. When Grayson tried to assault her in his private room thinking she was merchandise, I came through the door with my gun. We made it look like suicide, left him hanging from his own chandelier with a note confessing his crimes. The third was a railroad baron named Charles Beckett. He'd ordered the attack on Kaya's village to clear land for his new line. He was harder, traveled with guards, stayed in fortified hotels. We hit him on his private train sneaking aboard at night. Kaya moved through the cars like a ghost. By the time Beckett's guards knew we were there, it was over. We left his body in a first-class cabin with all his contracts spread around him, proof of what he'd done, who he'd paid. After each kill, Kaya and I grew closer, not just as partners, as something more. She taught me to track like her people did, reading the land, listening to what the silence said. I taught her to shoot like a gunfighter, fast draws, moving targets. At night, we'd make camp and she'd tell me stories of her childhood, her father teaching her to ride, her mother singing old songs, her brother making her laugh. I told her about Sarah, how she died because I wasn't fast enough to save her from a man I should have killed years earlier. You can't save everyone, Kaya said one night lying beside me under the stars. I should have saved her. Maybe. Or maybe some people aren't meant to be saved. Maybe some losses teach us what we can't afford to lose again. She turned to face me. I won't be another Sarah, James. I can protect myself. I know. Doesn't mean I won't try to protect you anyway. She kissed me. Harder this time. Hungry. We'd been dancing around it for weeks. The attraction. The need. That night we stopped dancing. Afterward, lying tangled together in blankets, Kaya traced patterns on my chest. This is real now, she said quietly. Not just a legal fiction. Not just survival. Yeah. Are you afraid, terrified? She smiled. Good. Me too. What happens after? I asked. After we finish your list. What then? I don't know. I never thought past revenge. She looked at me with vulnerable eyes. Maybe we find a place, somewhere far from all this. Start over. You think that's possible for people like us? No. But I want to try anyway. She kissed me softly. With you, I want to try. The trap. We were 3 kills away from finishing when everything went wrong. We'd tracked target number 6 to a small town in Colorado. Army captain named Harrison Wells. He'd led the actual raid on Kaya's village, gave the order to burn everything. We thought we were hunting him. We were wrong. He was hunting us. We walked into the saloon where Wells was supposedly drinking and found ourselves surrounded. 20 soldiers, all with rifles aimed at us. Wells sat at a table smiling. Beside him sat Sheriff Crane. Hello, Mrs. MacAllister, Wells said mockingly. Or should I say, Miss Windrider, I hear your marriage is quite the scandal. Kaya's hand moved toward her gun. I grabbed her wrist. Too many guns. We'd be dead before we cleared leather, smart man, Crane said. Unlike his whore wife. I felt Kaya tense, whispered, don't. Not yet. We've been waiting for you, Wells continued. Knew you'd come for me eventually. So we set a trap. And here you are. What do you want? I asked. Your lives, naturally. But more than that. Wells gestured to the soldiers. Proof. See, you've been causing us problems. 4 dead men. All respectable citizens. All connected to us. We need to show the territory that you're dangerous criminals. Savage terrorists who need to be put down. So you're going to execute us. Publicly. Tomorrow at dawn. The savage and her bewitched white husband. Perfect example of what happens when races mix. He smiled. Any last words? Kaya spoke, voice calm despite the guns. Yes, you forgot something. What's that? I'm not the only one who knows what you did. I documented everything. Names, dates, locations, evidence. And if I don't send a signal by midnight tonight, it all goes to the territorial governor. Every newspaper from here to Washington. every judge, every lawman. Wells's smile faltered. You're bluffing, am I? Are you willing to bet your career on it? Your life. Kaya met his eyes. I've spent 3 years planning this. You think I didn't prepare for capture silence? Wells and Crane exchanged looks. Where is it? Crane demanded. Safe. With someone you'll never find. Kaya leaned forward. But I'll make you a deal. Let us go. Leave the territory. Never come back. And the evidence disappears. You get to keep your respectable lives. And if we refuse, then you hang me tomorrow. And by evening, every newspaper in America knows what you did. You'll be infamous. Hunted. Destroyed. She smiled. Your choice. Quick death for me. Slow death for you. Or everyone lives. It was a complete bluff. There was no evidence. No backup plan. Just Kaya's unshakable confidence. It worked. Wells lowered his rifle. You have until dawn. If we ever see you again, we kill you on sight. No trial, no questions. Agreed. They let us go. We rode hard, didn't stop until we'd crossed 2 territories. When we finally made camp, I grabbed Kaya and kissed her hard. That was insane, I said. That was necessary. She was shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. I thought we were dead. So did I. But you. I held her face in my hands. You incredible, terrifying woman. You stared down 20 guns and bluffed them. I learned from the best. She smiled. You taught me that sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy thinks you have. We held each other as the sun set, both of us processing how close we'd come to dying. We can't go back, I said. The list is unfinished, but we can't, I know. It's over. Kaya looked at me with tired eyes. Maybe it's better this way. Maybe revenge was never going to heal anything. What will I don't know. But I'd like to find out. With you, we found a place. Small ranch on the Arizona-New Mexico border, far from towns and sheriffs and memories. The land was rough, unforgiving, exactly what we needed. A place where 2 fugitives could disappear into honest work and quiet days. The first month we barely had walls, just a canvas tent and determination. I built the cabin with my own hands while Kaya worked the land planting vegetables in soil that hadn't seen a plow in years. My hands, which had only known guns and rains, learned the weight of a hammer, the satisfaction of something built instead of destroyed. Kaya was right. Revenge hadn't healed her. But time did. Work did. Building something instead of destroying it. I watched her change in those early months. The hardness in her eyes softened when she planted seeds and watched them grow. The tension in her shoulders eased when she woke without checking for enemies first. She smiled more, laughed at small things, a bird landing on the fence post, rain finally coming after a dry spell, me falling off the roof while hammering shingles. You're a better killer than a carpenter, she'd called up to me, grinning. Good thing I married someone who's good at both, I'd called back. We raised horses. Started with 2 wild Mustangs Kaya gentled with patience I didn't know existed. She'd spend hours just sitting with them talking in Apache until they came to her willingly. Within a year, we had 8. Within 2 years, people were coming from 3 territories to buy horses trained by the Apache woman who speaks to their souls. We taught local Apache children to read and write. Kaya insisted on it, said education was a weapon the white man couldn't take away. Every Saturday, 6 or 7 children would come to our ranch. I'd teach them English and arithmetic. Kaya taught them Apache history and traditions, making sure they knew where they came from, even as they learned to navigate the changing world. One girl, maybe 9 years old, asked Kaya once, "Are you afraid that they'll come for you?" Kaya had knelt down, looked her in the eyes, every day. But I don't let fear make my choices anymore. Fear made me a killer. Love made me a teacher. Which do you think is braver? The girl thought about it. Love, because you have more to lose. Exactly. We helped travelers who came through lost or hungry. Our door was never locked. Our table always had room for one more. Some were white settlers heading west, surprised to find kindness from an Apache woman. Some were Apache families displaced by the government, grateful to find sanctuary. Some were Mexican traders, Chinese railroad workers, freed slaves, heading for new territories. All of them were welcomed. All of them left with full stomachs and a story about the strange couple on the border who'd somehow found peace in a world that had none. Word spread quietly. The ranch of the woman and the bounty hunter who'd chosen each other over everything else. The place where enemies became friends. where the past didn't matter as much as what you did today. Some people came to kill us. 3 times in the first year, bounty hunters showed up at our door, guns drawn, ready to collect the reward that still technically existed on Kaya's head. We sent them away, convinced them there were better ways to spend their lives. The first one, a young kid named Danny, couldn't have been more than 19. He rode up at dawn, rifle shaking in his hands, shouting for the savage woman to come out. Kaya walked out calmly, hands empty and visible. "I'm Kaya. You're here for the bounty." $5,000, he stammered. That's enough to buy a ranch. Start a life." "It is," she agreed. "Or you could start a life without killing someone. I'm offering you work. We need help with the horses. Pay's not 5,000, but it's honest, and you get to keep your soul." He stared at her, at me standing in the doorway, at the ranch that somehow looked peaceful instead of dangerous. "I don't understand," he said. "You came here to kill me for money? I'm offering you the chance to earn money without killing. Which man do you want to be?" He left, came back 2 days later, worked for us for 3 months before heading west to start his own ranch, visited every Christmas after that, always brought his wife, and kids always thanked Kaya for saving him from himself. Some came to thank us for the men we'd killed. These were harder, widows who'd lost husbands to Grayson's brothel trade, daughters who'd been branded like Kaya, fathers whose children had disappeared along the railroad line Beckett built. We gave them food and shelter and listened to their stories. Let them cry, let them rage, let them find whatever peace they could in knowing their monsters were dead. One woman, maybe 60 years old, traveled 400 miles just to shake Kaya's hand. "My granddaughter," she said, crying. "She was taken by Grayson's men, never came home. I just needed to thank you, to know someone cared enough to stop him." Kaya held her for an hour while she wept. Afterward, she told me, "That's why it mattered. Not revenge. Justice. Making sure no one else's granddaughter disappears." And every night, Kaya and I sat on our porch and watched the sunset together. It became our ritual. No matter how hard the day, how much work remained, we stopped everything when the sky turned gold. "Why this?" I asked once. "Why is the sunset so important to you?" "Because it proves. We survived another day," she said simply. "Every sunset is a victory." So we sat, sometimes in silence, sometimes talking about the day, sometimes planning the future, always together, always touching her hand in mine or her head on my shoulder or my arm around her waist. Those moments were when I felt most at peace, most certain I'd made the right choice, most grateful I hadn't pulled that trigger. 6 months into our new life, she told me she was pregnant. I was fixing the corral fence when she came up behind me, wrapped her arms around my waist and whispered, "James, we're going to have a baby." The hammer fell from my hands. I turned around, searched her face to make sure I'd heard correctly. She was glowing, radiant, terrified and joyful all at once. I cried. She held me while I shook with emotions I couldn't name. Joy, fear, gratitude, overwhelming love. "Are you happy?" she asked, softly wiping my tears with her thumbs. Terrified, but yes, happiest I've ever been. I put my hand on her still flat stomach. "I don't know how to be a father. I don't know if I'll be good at it." "You'll be good at it because you care about being good at it. Bad fathers don't worry. Good. Because our daughter will need a brave father." "Daughter," I pulled back to look at her. "How do you know?" She smiled, that mysterious smile, the one that always meant she knew something I didn't. "The spirits told me. Just like they told me you'd never pull that trigger. Just like they told me you were mine." I kissed her then, long and deep-tasted salt from my own tears mixing with hers. "I love you," I said. Words I'd never said to anyone except Sarah. Words I'd thought I'd never say again. "I know. You've loved me since the moment you saw me through that scope. You just didn't know it yet. You knew I always know." She took my hand, placed it firmly on her belly. "Just like I know she'll be fierce like me, and kind like you. She'll be beautiful and strong and free. She'll know her father was a man who chose love over death, who chose her mother when the whole world said to kill her, who proved that people can change, can choose better." My throat was too tight to speak. I just held her, felt the promise of our daughter between us, felt the weight and wonder of becoming a father. "I'd choose you again," I finally managed. "Every time, in every life. If the spirits gave me 1,000 chances, I'd choose you every single time. I know that too." She kissed me softly. "That's why the spirits brought you to me. Because you were always going to choose right. You just needed the chance." We sat together on the porch as stars came out, 2 people who'd met as hunter and prey. and became something neither expected, something whole, something that made sense in a world that rarely did. The bounty on Kaya's head was never collected. Sheriff Crane died in a bar fight 3 years later, drunk and angry, killed by a man he'd cheated at cards. The other men on her list either died of natural causes or disappeared into obscurity.